screen share. Let's see. Yay. No, recording. So this is Thursday, May 7th, advanced class. We're going to get into it. Those of you who are not watching the live version, you've missed out on all kinds of fun chat because we use our chat for all kinds of horrible things like talking about eating things from South America, and we're just going to leave it there. It's not really important what we're talking about eating. What's important is the fact that we entertain ourselves. To you guys, let's see, it should be a shorter one. I'm just going to introduce some things. Those of you who stuck around yesterday and I read gospel to you, I will do a little bit more of gospel reading. For those of you who've already finished the book or just don't find me entertaining, you're welcome to just dip out here in just a moment when I get done explaining things. No hard feelings. For those of you, Shalini, there is no saving you from the chaos. For those of you who are curious, I am still sick. I would show you a picture of my throat, but it is not a pleasant sight whatsoever. I'm on 4 days of medication, and apparently my corona strep is just laughing at it, and nothing is getting healed whatsoever, and it is awful. I don't know what I have, dear, but it definitely is uncomfortable. Shh, keep learning. So there, let's go over to the screen. Don't kill, no one's killing any. Wait, don't kill the strap? Definitely not kill the strap. I want to go to screen 2 and share that. And then, wait, no, I want to go here. Hang on. Come on, figure it out. All right, there we go. Clickety. And there we go. I think that screen over there is the one that is being shared. So I think we're good to go. All right. Back to here. Skyward is updated. I even did Tuesday's quiz. So if you were going through there and taking a look at that, those of you who took the quiz like last evening, it has not been updated with that one yet. I can tell you that part of it. So I updated it through like yesterday afternoon and went through and did all of that one. So hopefully that helps you out a wee bit as far as that goes. If you're still taking the quiz, that's fine. I entered anyone who had not taken the quiz. It got entered as a 0. But that is just a scare you 0. It is not a permanent 0. That was just a, you have a missing assignment, please go get it done. Once you get it done, then it goes back to your normal thing. So hopefully that helps you out on that one. Panoramic survey, again, I know it's really boring, but just giving you a heads up, make sure you get that done. And then your goal is to finish the book before Tuesday. We don't have a whole lot of the book left, so it shouldn't be too awful. Click. I said, click, there we go. Again, the gospel homework number 1, the 75 item list, you can still do it. You just have to email me and tell me to go look for it, and then I will happily grade it, and you'll be good to go. Same thing with the gospel playlist. You can still turn that one in. I'll be more than happy to grade that one too, and I'll be more than happy to go through. You just have to email me and let me know. Yesterday's Larry quiz, Tuesday's Larry quiz, you're still welcome to do also. This one you don't have to email me about. It just goes, I go in there and check it every couple of days. So that one you're fine. So that one you don't have to worry about sending me stuff about. Again, all the past e-learning, blah, 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 you can turn it in. I've not closed any e-learning for the entire year. I have kids, once again, still turning it in from like that first week of Greek mythology. And final gospel test coming up a week from yesterday. We're going to hang out that final test. It'll be much like the mythology one. It'll be about 35 questions, some multiple choice, some matching, some short answer, stuff like that. I was really disappointed yesterday. I'm going to blame the fact that I was sick and could not put the full emotions into it, but I had no kids break down in tears and like sobbing and like shaking their screens the entire time. They all seem to take it pretty well. Either that or regular kids just have no emotions, which could also be an option. But anyway, we got through the death of poor what's-his-face yesterday, and we're going to get to the death of poor what's-his-other-face today. So it's going to be back-to-back death days. So yay! And then for those of you reading gospel, you're getting to the death of Larry or / Josh here coming up. And then let's see. Here is your newest and lastest big assignment. Let's see. We have one last Socrative, I think, which is next week. But this is your last big assignment. And for this one, you're going to be doing the gospel sermon where you're going to get a chance to do a ranty, complaining thing. I've got a feeling about a half a dozen of you are going to be talking about why we should be eating more guinea pig, or why we should not be talking about guinea pigs, or why we should not let teachers ramble while they're sick on a Zoom. But any of these are topics that you're more than welcome to go after, whatever personally speaks to you. For me, I'm going to go on an anti-banana bread rant and how banana bread is made by the devil and is an absolutely horrible. Sorry, I was just waiting to see if Grace was going to react. I was entertaining myself on that one. So what you're going to do for this one, you have 2 grades again. Grade 1, you are going to post a rant. So you're going to go on there and you get to just go off and babble about whatever you want. If you want to do a second rant that is anonymous, you may. You have to post a normal one, and then you can do a second anonymous one. The anonymous one, if there's like a topic that you want to write about, but you're afraid other people are going to be all judgy, email it to me, and I will post it for you by anonymous version. But you have to have a normal one first. The length of it, I don't really care. I mean, give me at least a paragraph, but for some of you, it's going to be up to a page. If you read mine, because I posted my rant, I kind of got into it and sort of went off on lazy people. So mine ended up being like a full page. I don't expect that from you. It was just the fact that I didn't really attack banana bread. Banana bread's delicious. Stop being a bunch of haters. And so for you, you get your choice of whatever kind of length you want for it. Then again, 2 replies. So go on there, read other people's, write down your thoughts on theirs and stuff like that. Again, it's going to be on the discussion page just like before. I have these directions on there. There's no length requirement. Basically, the only thing you can't write about are things that are going to get us in trouble. Like, don't write about the fact, like, vaping is cool. Every kid should vape. Here's how you get a fake ID to go get your, that was going to get us in trouble. So that one you can't do. But as far as like most other topics, you should, like, if you want to write on there, like teachers are stupid and we should get rid of all of them, absolutely fine with me. Welcome to Zooms, or something like that. If you want to write about how guinea pigs are delicious and the fact that we should be using them as like a farming thing here at school, more power to you. That's fine with me also. So you just sort of get to pick whatever thing it is that works best for you. Again, you'll go to discussions, and then you go over to the gospel homework number 3. This is your third and final one that we are going to be doing, and you just have to write your little thing off that one. All right. Then questions as far as this final one goes. Aside from you guys just going off in chat and having all kinds of Yankee with no brim, you can write about the fact that every hat should have a brim, and that can be your particular rant, or the fact of having to live with your grandparents in Florida when it's sunny outside would work for me too. All right, so I'm assuming we have no major issues on that. Then those of you who, what is going on in the hallway? Stop kicking a thing, child. I'm trying to teach. Are you dying? Hang on 1 second. I think my child might be dying. Hey, Kai, you down there? Can you come help your sister? Please, now. Right, she's coming. Watch your foot. All right. And I'm back. All right. Ugh, children. She didn't die, most likely. All right. So anyway, so if you guys have no questions for me, and you don't want me to read a book to you, then here's where you're more than welcome to yeet out and disappear and stuff like that, and that's fine with me. Otherwise, I'm going to read part of the book, answer questions, and do talking, but we have no other big thing. Tuesday, I plan on talking about the end of the book. So I plan on going into it. So if you've not finished end of the book by then that's where I plan on, hiccup, talking about what happens at the very end, answering questions, and covering stuff from there to help you guys out. Oh, sorry. So what I was going to do is jump to page 191. This is where I had left off with a whole bunch of you guys yesterday. So I was going to go through and pick up reading from there for a little bit, as long as my voice and brain hold out to try and help you. And then as long as we're good to go rant-wise, I posted a rant. I'm looking forward to seeing your guys' rants on that one. All right. Then to here, let's go to escape. Stop share. Back to me. Back to this guy. Spotlight. No, and yay, there we go. All right. Then bye to all the kids and totally random, like hiding children. You can say whatever random thing you want, Alyssa. We're a very forgiving group. I mean, we talked about eating children locked in closets, which is ridiculous. No one eats closet children. But each their own. All right, so we're good to go there. I was picking up on page 191. I was going to read at least a little bit. By the way, there's not a whole lot of the book left. Again, we're on page 191, and the whole book only goes to 227? 227. So there's like all of 40 pages left, and they read by pretty quickly. Hang on 1 second. I got to take a time out to drink. and spray my throat because, again, there's glass in there. Holy cow, does that hurt? Death. Page 191. On the appointed day, I jumped out of bed from a fitful sleep, not refreshed, but full of an anxious excitement. I showered and dressed quickly and took a look around my room to see if I had forgotten anything. I said goodbye to my 63 possessions. The other 12 were coming with me. I walked around the house, past the Paisley chair my mom used to read in, past the Humpty Dumpty candle Catherine had insinuated onto the counter, past Peter's stack of Fortune and Business Weeks. I guess I was a lot like him after all. Make it work or die trying. Ouch. I wouldn't be honest if I said I didn't think about calling the whole thing off, but that thought came and went like any other. I tightened the hood of my sweatshirt to cover my newly shorn and dyed locks, grabbed my pack, and left. No one from the neighborhood saw me. It was 2:30, and Mr. Monroe, the earliest guy to tool off to the rat race, didn't usually leave till 6. My pace was relaxed and almost slow motion. By the way, that's 2:30 a.m. in the morning, when apparently you guys don't wake up either. When my mother pulled me in the wagon back in Ohio, we used to wander around the neighborhood and sing, "Hello, stop sign. Hello, German Shepherd." She used to stop the wagon sometimes and turn to me with her hands on her hips, laughing, "Hello, my Joshy." Today I played the game in a strange nighttime reverse. Goodbye, mailbox. Goodbye, fence. Goodbye, Josh Swinson. Goodbye, little guinea pig. Yummy, yummy guinea. Oh, sorry, wrong one. That was me doing my own personal one. On the long ride to the bridge, I didn't pass many cars. The Samaritan sign at the base of the bridge implored the desperate to call for help. There was still time to change my mind. I didn't. I lifted my bike every few feet on the grating, peering down to choppy water below. If I were really going to kill myself, this would be one ballsy way to do it. I pulled my bike against one of the gray girders near the middle of the bridge. I looked long and hard to make sure no one was driving or jogging. Then I kicked off my sneakers and sweatshirt and tossed them into the water. Fast as lightning, I tore off my jeans, Josh's jeans, Larry's jeans, and stuffed them into my pack. In my running shorts, I put on the new glasses and running shoes, then waited for the next car. I felt like I was going to throw up. The sweat I had going was a bonus. It made my running disguise all the better. After a few minutes, a Volvo headed toward me with a station wagon close behind. Half crazy with fear, I flagged them both over. "Some guy just jumped. I ran across the bridge and tried to stop him, but he didn't listen." The man in the Volvo got out and looked at the bike propped against the side of the bridge. "Was it a kid?" "I don't know, maybe 18 or so. By the time I got close, he jumped." The man reached inside the car for a cell phone and dialed 911. The couple in the station wagon approached. "Is everything okay?" the woman asked. Some stupid kid jumped." I paced back and forth between the three of them, my nervousness real. "I can't deal with this. I've got to get out of here." "Hey, you should at least tell the police what you saw," the Volvo guy said. He moved closer to the bike, not touching anything. One good thing about all those cop shows, anybody who watches TV knows how to deal with a crime scene. "Looks like this bike is registered. Maybe the police can track it down." More and more cars pulled over. A wave of panic rushed over me that even in my disguise, someone would recognize me. One guy in a pickup punctuated the darkness with his horn. The station wagon woman looked at me. How traumatic. Out for a run and someone kills himself right in front of you? I knew I would feel a lot of pressure during this part of the plan. I hadn't realized how physical the nervousness would be. I ran to the edge of the bridge and threw up. Last night's dinner following the path of my sneakers and sweatshirt. The woman handed me a wad of tissues from her purse. "You should go. You're just a youngster yourself." I picked up my pack just in time to see two police cars weave their way across the bridge. The guy in the Volvo approached the cop driving the first car. He pointed straight at me. "This kid was out for a run and saw a guy get off this bike and jump." The officer looked at me as if to verify the statement. I pushed my glasses up my nose and nodded. I ran as fast as I could, but I couldn't get to him in time. The Volvo guy led the two cops to the bike. Looks like the jumpers registered his bike. The cop turned to me. Can you describe him? Gray sweatshirt, hood pulled tight around his face, jeans, sneakers, about the same height as you are. I wanted to avoid all comparisons to myself. And your name is? Gil Jackson. I've been camping here this week. Don't be too eager, I thought. He'll ask you again if he needs anything. He moved on to the Volvo guy and the people in the station wagon. I caught a small corner of Josh's jeans peeking out of my pack. I nonchalantly zipped it as I waited for the police to finish. Suddenly, a truck from a local TV station made its way down the bridge. People started getting out of their cars. More people beeped their horns. I asked the cop if I could go. I need a number where I can get in touch with you if I have to. I'm leaving for LA tonight. If you give me your card, I'll call you when I settle in. The detective gave me a long look, then handed over his card. He took the number of the Volvo guy. A woman, followed by a cameraman, ran toward us. Any reporter might recognize me, disguised or not. I feel like I'm going to be sick again. I headed to the edge of the bridge, listening to the cops talk with the reporters. By now, there were 20 or so people peering down into the water, as if the body, my body, would suddenly pop up and appear. I excused myself to the crowd, moving farther away from the scene. Hey, what's going on up there? A guy asked from his Beetle. Someone jumped. No kidding. He turned to the woman next to him. Annie, check this out. Holy cow, who does that at a freaking crime scene? Hey, look at this kid who died. A woman bolted out of the car with her video camera, ready to join in the circus. I eyed the crowd, the police, my bike. It came down, as it always did, to a visceral decision. I never looked back. Part 6. And when they found not his body, they came, saying that they had also seen a vision of angels, which said that he was alive, and their eyes were opened, and they knew him, and he vanished out of their sight. So again, hopefully by now you're starting to pick up on these connections between the two with the whole, Jesus disappearing and, Larry disappearing or Josh disappearing and that whole idea from there. Page 199. One of the benefits of living near a large city is that you can hide out, still be close to things, and stay incognito. I checked into the Shady Time Motel in a suburb north of Boston for one reason, to watch the hullabaloo of Josh and Larry's suicide. The bike registration and Gil's eyewitness account would be the primary means of identification. The bike would also save a few days of tracking for Peter's benefit as well as my own. By the middle of the morning, the police had tracked Peter down in Chicago. He grabbed the next flight and was back in Boston by 6. Even the all-invasive television coverage couldn't document Peter's most private moments. Not that they didn't try. I imagined the scene as if in a movie. Peter, head in hands, sitting on my bed, berating himself, the word why echoing off the walls of the room like a bullet. Catherine would gently blot her eyes so her mascara didn't run and tell him there's no way he could have known. The melodrama of the scene almost sent me reaching for the phone several times, but I told myself the situation was temporary, that I just needed to hold on. They interrupted the local show to cover the gruesome details of my death. One reporter stood outside the empty high school, droning on about my life. Footnote. I was swallowing. He actually had the nerve to quote Larry. Such a shame, such a waste. He was such a lovely boy. Mm-hmm. He had rounded up several students and teachers to come out for their 15 minutes of fame. Miss Phillips spoke about my early admission to Princeton, and Mr. Gibbons about my talent in physics and photography. Debbie Holden, who never did anything but ignore me, cried so hard into the camera they had to cut to the parking lot for the reporter to finish talking. CNN ran live coverage of the canal search, the Coast Guard trawlers, the crowds on the bridge. They turned up one sneaker, which Peter ID'd as mine. Footnote, the photograph of the lone shoe eventually made its way across the internet and onto 16 million t-shirts. The shoe itself ended up in a glass case at the Ripley's Believe It or Not Museum. The whole thing gave me the creeps. I jumped a foot off the bed, when I caught a glimpse of myself in the motel mirror. The short blonde hair made it seem like someone else had entered the room. Maybe someone kind of technically had. I tried not to hate Beta Gold, tried to listen to the Larry part of me and understand her point of view. She held a press conference saying my suicide was not her fault, that Larry belonged to the people in life and in death. She felt sorry for Josh's family and Larry's fans, but it was her duty and destiny to bring Larry to the public. Footnote, she actually said outing him was my gift to the cosmos. Ugh, get a grip. Over the next few days, I ate takeout salads and ice cream sandwiches and watched CNN nonstop. It wasn't just the what will they say about me when I'm gone curiosity, although that was partly it. Mostly, I wanted to make sure there were no doubts about the suicide. If the detectives thought anything was suspicious, if Peter refused to believe the evidence, if they kept the case open, my plan would be a resounding failure. Footnote, my worst fear. The detectives rule out suicide and the world goes on a crazed Larry hunt. Like poor Elvis, the public would feast on me even in death. It was a reoccurring nightmare that woke me in a full sweat on many occasions. But if they all believed Josh/Larry was dead, if they held a memorial service, if no one suspected anything, I could reappear with my alibi 6 months later and go back to being Josh again. I practiced my story repeatedly to make sure it sounded authentic. A guy jumped me, tossed me from my bike, and rode off. I wandered around the Cape until a man finally gave me a lift. I passed out in his car, then woke up at his house in Connecticut, couldn't remember my name. I left after a few days and wandered around till my memory slowly returned. That's when I'd quietly appear at Peter's, or maybe somewhere else. I still wasn't sure. The detectives checked every airline and train to LA to question Gil Jackson again. As part of the plan, I'd purchased a ticket as Gil on an unreserved train so no one could tell if he'd used it or not. They sent out several requests on LA radio stations for Gil to come forward for further questioning. Now, throat. Given Peter's testimony about my bike rides to the Cape and how miserable I'd been, the detectives finally gave up trying to find Gil. The last person to see Josh alive was as fictitious a character as Larry himself. I'd purposely left my laptop and camera at home for one reason. If the police did think this whole suicide was a ploy, Peter would testify there was no way I would have left either of them behind. I watched a clip of Peter on the 6 o'clock news telling reporters I wouldn't go out for breakfast without my camera or laptop, never mind running away. One eager Beaver detective noticed I'd sold a few of my stocks over the past few months. That led to a flurry of speculation that I had disappeared with the money. Thinking this might happen, I'd also left several letters from the Red Cross, the American Cancer Society, and other charities thanking me for my recent donations. I'd written most of the letters myself. Some of the contributions were real, of course, but I'd also done some hacking into their fundraising databases and made myself look more philanthropic than I really was. So, Josh was finally left alone and given the official stamp of suicide. Peter scheduled the memorial service for the next day. I sat on the orange motel bedspread and turned on the TV. When I saw the crowds lined up for miles, I thought someone had just assassinated the Pope. To my horror, the crowd was assembled outside my mother's cemetery. After several teachers and friends eulogized me, I was shocked to see Beth take the podium. She had seamlessly moved from Seattle to Providence to start her freshman year at Brown. I felt bad throwing this at her so soon after school started, but she spoke confidently into the microphone, her face filling the several jumbo monitors behind my empty coffin. Josh Swinson became Larry for one reason: to contribute to the world. He believed we as humans were as endangered species, that the predators who would lead to our demise were ourselves. He had a laser-like mind that focused on one thing: looking inside instead of outside ourselves for answers. He was right about a lot of things. I wish he hadn't been right about our insatiable hunger for the new and exciting. I wish he hadn't been right about how far we'd go to keep ourselves entertained. He would have hated this circus today. He was a boy who swung on swings, who could do the Python's silly walk routine verbatim, who wanted nothing less of himself than to change the world. We lost someone amazing today, but we're all too amused by the spectacle to know it. She left the stage and disappeared into the crowd. I paced around the room in a panic. Beth, so eloquent, so powerful. I wanted to race to the cemetery and jump on her like the old days. The only thing making this forced exile bearable at all was the thought of seeing her again in a few months. If I could hold it together until then, surely she'd be open to being friends again. At this point, I would have settled for sitting on her front steps one more time, watching the Petersons' Christmas lights flicker on and off. But my elation at the idea of a renewed life with Beth quickly dissipated when I saw the Jumbotron images of Peter. He pushed the grave diggers away and threw shovelful after shovelful of dirt himself. I burst into tears, deeply sorry for his pain and suffering. His movements reminded me of all the hours I'd spent digging my hole in the woods. And suddenly, we didn't seem like we were on opposite sides at all. Remorse filled the room like a musty bedspread. I wasn't happy with the situation, but I couldn't turn back now. The next day, I would check out, head west for a while, and do what all pilgrims do: wait for a sign. My throat. All right, I gotta stop there. I'm gonna let you guys read the last 30 pages on your own. As much as I would like to read with you, I have to go and try to get this small gerbil out of my throat. I'm gonna try and grab it by the tail and just pull it right out. Apparently, all my joking about eating a guinea pig has come back to haunt me because my throat feels awful. Nothing tomorrow. Unfortunately, you guys just have the writing of the sermons. The sermons is sort of how we'll interact, and I look forward to reading what you guys have there. And then we'll have our last big discussion on Tuesday. Zoe, what is up?
What does the word berating mean?
That's sort of what I do with you guys, is when you yell and make fun of someone and attack them. Or what Shalene did with me earlier, or any number of kids when I was talking about how delicious guinea pigs were. That was the idea of berating. Solid question. All right. Then other than that, what page did I end on? That I can tell you. Alyssa, I ended on page 206, which gives you almost exactly 30 pages or 20 pages, something like that. So really close to the end. So that did not take me long to read that. So I'm assuming you've got about 30 minutes of reading left at the end, and then you'll be done with the book. All right. So we only have 2 weeks left, which makes me sad, so I'm not going to talk about it. Instead, we're going to talk about the fact that we get to talk again on Tuesday. So figure out what you want to rant about and put your heart into it, and let's see how entertaining this can be. All right, y'all. Check you later.